Many longtime RuneScape 3 players feel the game is in a pretty messy state in many ways presently, but in this video I want to focus on one aspect that's rarely discussed: quests. There are many quest lines across different timelines in RuneScape, but there is very little indication to new or returning players as to which quests happen in what order and in what timeline the world is actually in right now. This is off-putting for a lot of players, but I have an idea that would make this aspect of RuneScape 3 easier to digest for unaware players. Good day, everybody. First off, I want to mention the obvious and declare that this video is full of questline spoilers. If you are a lorehound and you're trying to go through the quests in order and discover their stories yourself by playing, that's awesome. RuneScape 3 does have some incredible quest lines for those who care about that kind of thing, but you should definitely stop watching this video here and now if it's important to you to avoid spoilers. I won't discuss plot points that much in detail, to be honest, but I will be showing video from past quests, and if you're not so familiar with content after The World Wakes and the Elder God Wars series and the aftermath of that, minor spoilers here. But anyways, with that out of the way, I've been inspired to publish a video on this subject for some time, and it feels appropriate now with the latest Game Jam announcement this week mentioning quest requirement cleanups. We saw an initial announcement for this work some time ago, and we don't have any promise of when we'll ever see this implemented, if we do. But either way, these changes won't address the biggest problem by far with quests in RuneScape 3, which is that the timeline and lore of what's already happened in this game, or hasn't happened, is extremely muddled and very confusing, especially to new players or those returning after a long break. Currently in RuneScape 3, the timeline is set in the 6th Age, marked by the death of Guthix, the return of the gods to Gielinor, and many questlines worth of events that follow. What's unfortunate for a new or returning player is that all the old quests of the old school 5th Age era still exist and are readily available for you to start around the world of Gielinor at basically any time, just as easily as it is to start 6th Age quests. The only way for players to have some direction in the timeline order of quests is in the sorting by timeline option in the quest list. This is great for keeping lore in order, but does come with a downside that there are several quests with great benefits designed mostly for low-level players that you'll miss out on for a long time. This includes Missing Presumed Death, which has amazing lore and dialogues with the major gods to play through, and The Death of Chivalry, which is a rework of Black Knight's Fortress, and many others. A bigger problem is that even if you do decide to take on the quests in order, the game world itself is full of anachronisms that assume you already know everything that's gone down in the 5th Age. The archaeology skill is notorious for this via its dig site managers. Zanuck at the Warforge will greet you like your old friends, regardless of whether or not you've gone through all Goblin questline. Another example is the God Wars 3 dungeon front, specifically the Arc Glacior. New or low-level players are encouraged to fight this boss early on in order to learn increasingly complex RuneScape 3 bossing mechanics. It's a truly great boss for that and does its job as intended. The weird part lore-wise, though, is that you basically have access to this boss right away, even though a ton of events across both the 5th and 6th Age took place in order to set up the Elder God Wars fronts in Sentistan. As a new player, there isn't any explanation as to why several gods are gathered in the center of the city with these massively powerful Elder God eggs. It's somewhat explained through the cutscenes that each front offers that you can watch, by the way, by right-clicking the eggs. But new and returning players don't really have a way of knowing that these events unfolded way after most quests that have already taken place. Also, the entire divination skill and all quest lines after 2013, pretty much, are set up in the 6th Age, which implies you already know about Guthix's death and all the other shenanigans the gods have gotten into since, or at the very least, there's the same problem I just mentioned, which is that there is no indication that all this happened far into the timeline of available quests. I can't think of any other RPG where from the time you land, it takes so long to figure out what is happening with the whole timeline situation, and why some quests are visibly 20 years old and unchanged, while others are amazingly voice acted and executed overall, and why they're all kind of equally just distributed throughout the world. Even for an MMO, I think this is pretty bad. And as I've kind of alluded to before, the main reason most of us know what's happening is because we've been playing RuneScape for decades, literally at this point. So that's the problem as I see it. What's the solution then, as I see it? I would title it something like World Guardian Memories or Memories of the World Guardian. For starters, when you create a new account, all complete quest lines would be in the past, chronologically speaking. By this, I mean all quest lines that have reached a finale or a conclusion quest. Simply put, your character would have amnesia. Just like a new player, your character, like a new real-life person player, your character has minimal knowledge of the history that's encompassed in these past quests and in world events. To get into old and current quest lines, you're helped or given a tutorial by a set of guides, and there would be something like a central point, like a memory pool, for example. Now for the fun part that would actually help players get up to speed. This memory pool and your guides would be meant to lay out all past and existing quest lines in a manner that's easy to look through and understand. Here you could select and complete old quests by using the memory pool as a central access point for all the old quests that are tedious and outdated. While most players would agree that old quests shouldn't become suddenly much easier just because they're old and nobody likes them, some quests have gotten reworks, like Diamond in the Rough, for example, is a rework of Prince Ali Rescue. There's the aforementioned Death of Chivalry, that is an excellent rework of Black Knight's Fortress, etc. That is a great option that takes a lot more development time, unfortunately. But the one argument I would have for making quests like this at least easier to access and easier to complete is that there are many newer quests that new or returning players don't get to, probably because they are so bogged down by old quests with old mechanics that are just difficult and irritating and throw off the whole experience for questing in RuneScape. Let me stop here and break down my reasoning further for all these ideas. Firstly, memories make sense thematically, as they're a huge part of the divination skill. Remember that when you grind your divination training or you grind incandescence for divine charge or money, all of it involves gathering and draining memories into something useful. This is why I think an amnesia route makes sense. Secondly, regarding guides, there are a number of helpful core RuneScape characters that fit the bill that are underutilized. Recently, some of these, like Death and Icthlarn, have gotten more face time thanks to Necromancy, but there are others like Ariane, whatever, several Majorat, Charos, even May of the Quest Caravan. The point is that there are many other characters that would be great to develop on the role of your quest history / memory guides. The memory pool could be in one central location, or even have offshoots at other core game locations like the Hall of Memories, or even in the city of Using essential locations like these could be a great way to give inexperienced players guidance to exploring new areas and skills, not just quests. It's no secret that RuneScape 3 on its own does a horrible job of pointing players to useful activities to do or next areas to explore. This pool of memory system could serve as a really cool, immersive way to give players an understanding easily of what quests of RuneScape look like, what the rewards are, who the central characters, gods, and other figures are, and what there actually is to do for new players in this game. It's very uncommon to hear of genuinely new players that have never tried RuneScape before giving it a shot now. It is very common, however, to hear that genuinely new players become lost very quickly after the basic tutorial. RuneScape 3 is basically reliant on the fact that almost everyone has already played a lot at some point in the past 20 years and has a solid idea of all the skills and how to progress in the game, and has already done Dragon Slayer and Tree Gnome Village and whatever, and is just doing them again now after some years. If one of Jagex's goals is to expand the very much dwindling player base and rake in some new memberships, I think developing something like this Memories of the World Guardian idea would be amazing. Is this one of Jagex's goals for this game? At this point, who knows, honestly. I was more optimistic in the past, but after recent events and players once again protesting strongly over MTX, aimed at milking the dwindling existing players, I'm not sure it's a priority, and I think before we see this kind of update, we'll probably see a Yak Track 2 Electric Boogaloo or something. I do hope I'm wrong, of course, but the point of this video was mainly to introduce an idea that can clean up the quest mess in RuneScape 3 and maybe do a better job of guiding players in this game so as to get some actually new gamers spending time and money in it. So on that note, please let me and everyone know in the comments if you like the ideas I presented here, or if you hate them, and why. If you've had other similar ideas that could make this game make more sense for new accounts, share those too. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, I really appreciate you all. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel for more fun and useful RuneScape content. Bye for now. Catch you in the next one.